Recording in progress. Good morning to everybody. It is 9:30 and it's time for us to start our meeting. Good morning, honorable members, officials of this committee and others attending this Zoom platform.
Good morning, Chair.
Sophia, yes?
Good morning, Chairperson.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning.
Colleagues, I would like to, my apologies. I would like to welcome you all to today's meeting. And as we continue our work, I want to emphasize that that it's important for our shared commitment and addressing the water and sanitation challenges facing our communities. Our task is crucial, and together we have the opportunity to make a meaningful impact. Thank you for your dedication and contributions. Let's engage actively and work collectively towards sustainable solutions. Once again, welcome. And I hope we'll have a fruitful meeting in adopting the BRRR. May I then also request that we have a moment of silent prayer or meditation. Thank you. Colleagues, point 3 on the agenda is apologies. Secretariat, is there any apologies?
Good morning, Chairperson. There is no apology.
Thank you very much. We go to point 4, the consideration and adoption of the budgetary review and recommendation report on vote 41, Department of Water and Sanitation and entities. Tumani, can you lead us in that document?
Good morning, Chairperson and honorable members. Thank you very much. Yes, definitely I will take the members through the report. Nosipo, may you please upload, can I upload from my side?
From your side, Tomana just made you a co-host.
Okay, thank you. Oh, can you do it again, because it shows here host to disabled participant screen sharing.
Yes. Check again.
Yeah, now it's working.
All right.
Tumani, my apology quickly. I think we've got new members on the committee that was not announced to the rest of the committee. Before we start, can I maybe ask that the new members from MK just put on their camera and introduce themselves, please? The new members of MK. Nosipu, who are the new members?
Mr. Ngumalo introduced himself when we had a meeting at Taj Hotel.
Yeah.
Mr. Mthethwa has not attended the committee meetings yet.
Okay, then it's fine. Okay, thank you very much. Tumani, my apology. You can continue.
Thank you, Chairperson. Can you confirm if you are seeing the report, the first page of the report?
We can, yeah.
Thank you. I will proceed. This is the BRRR of the Portfolio Committee on Water and Sanitation. for the 2023-2024 financial year. And the first page, I'm not going to read verbatim, but I will just emphasize on important points on each page. This is an outcome of a number of briefings by the Auditor General, the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Department of Water and Sanitation, Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority, Water Research Commission, and the catchment management agencies. And we have had those briefings on the 8th and the 15th of October. And we came up with this report. And the 1.1, it's a reflection, just a review of the mandate of the Portfolio Committee, which emanates from the Constitution, as well as the National Assembly rules. And what we emphasize there is that the committee's mandate is premised on the 5 constitutional mandates of Parliament, which is processing the legislation, conducting oversight, ensuring public participation, processing international agreements, and facilitating cooperative governance within the intergovernmental relations framework. And the purpose of the budgetary review and recommendation report emanates from the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act of 2009, as amended in 2018, which sets out the process that allows Parliament, through its committees, to make recommendations to the Minister of Finance to amend the budget of a national department. So in October each year, portfolio committees are compelled to compile the BRRR that assesses the service delivery performance given the available resources, evaluate the effective and efficient use and forward allocation of resources, and then make recommendations on forward use of resources. So this is basically the purpose of this report. So members, I think I should acknowledge that we have done very well. We'll see that when we get to recommendations, then we have made recommendations that are in line with the presentations. 1.3, then we provide an overview of the mandate, policy and policies guiding the work of the department, and we show how they align to National Development Plan and as well as the medium strategic framework. And the framework, figure 1, just shows the flow of legislative framework within the water sector, that it starts from the Constitution, then it's informing the National Development Plan, then we've got international agreements, the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, in particular the SDG 6, and then we have got the national policy, National Sanitation Policy, National Water Policy, Water Supply and Sanitation Policy, then we've got the National Water and Sanitation Master Plan, and then from there, we can see the legislations, the Water Research Act, the National Water Act, Water Services Act, and then the relevant strategies. Then table 1, then it reflects the program of the department alignment with the NDP, MTSF as well. So I will not go through that. Then 1.4 provides overview of the medium-term development plan. This is a draft that was presented to the committee by the DPME in one of our briefings. So they just given us a draft of some of the things that would affect or would direct the work of the department within the water sector or the water value chain. So the first one, you can see increased infrastructure investment and job creation. So this is the priority for the next term, 24 to 2029. And then reduced poverty, improved livelihoods, improved service delivery at local government. So that those are the 3 main priorities in the new term that the committee will have to follow up and make sure that the department really aligns with this together with these entities. Then section 3, then we provide the overview of the presentations or briefings by the Auditor General, DPME, in relation to the performance of the department, TCTA, and Water Research Commission over the medium-term framework. Just to reflect on the key targets over the MTSF period, Table 2, which shows that they had planned to eradicate all the bucket sanitation systems across all formal areas, but that was not achieved. They only managed to achieve, I think, 1,284 out of that throughout the term. So that was a dismal performance. So that is really a summary of the works or the key targets within the MTSF. So, but that is really members have received this firsthand during the briefings. And then 3.2 provides the overview of the audit outcomes. And then overview of the performance relating to service delivery. Members would advise if they would want me to focus on a section, but for me, the other sections I will just pass because they are very clear and they were well presented during the briefings. Then we look at the...
No. It is not how we do it is working. We are not saying that we must talk verbatim, but we must talk to the report.
Okay.
It's a very different. It's a very different platform.
Honourable member, Honourable member, please, you just raise your hand and ask you want a question. We don't just budge in and then start. Please, let's respect each and every. I hear what you say. I agree with you, but let's do it in a nice manner. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I'm not disrespecting. You just have to reprimand that I must raise my hand. That is not a sign of disrespect.
No, I'm not. I don't mean that you are disrespecting me. I just feel that let's just follow the orders, the right order of how we deal with this. So then we respect each other in that case. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for that. The overview of the audit outcomes, the overall audit outcomes in the portfolio have regressed when compared to the prior year with the WRS, moving from a clean audit to unqualified with findings. So this is one of the main outcomes that the Auditor General shared with us, that the Water Research Commission in the previous year, they received a clean audit, but this year it's unqualified with findings, and the majority of findings were on compliance with legislations, particularly as it relates to the preparation and submission of the annual financial statements. And the audit outcomes of the department remain stagnant on unqualified with findings. And there was an improvement in the annual performance report as no material findings were reported. So that is insofar as the department's audit outcome is concerned, while the WTE, this is the water trading entity, also remained stagnant on unqualified findings, and they continue to have issues around the compliance with legislation, particularly when it relates to financial statements, expenditure management, and revenue management. And TCTA as well, they remain stagnant at unqualified with findings, and they continue to have compliance with legislation findings in the following areas: annual financial statements and consequence management. So that is, in a nutshell, the summary of audit outcomes. And then as we proceed, there were issues that were raised around the continued fruitless and wasteful expenditure that the water trading entity continued to incur relating to costs on projects. And for the year under review, it was reported at 257 million. while fruitless and wasteful expenditure stood at 29 million. So that is what they've incurred this current year. But when compared to the previous years, then this is an improvement, although it's not appreciable for the fruitless and wasteful expenditure. But it has been reduced, and we can see that there are efforts that they've put forward, and now the after year we see reduction in the fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Overview of the performance relating to service delivery. The Auditor General provided the review, a very, very detailed review in terms of all of the entities, in particular WTE and TCTA, which mainly reflected on the delayed projects, maintenance of water and sanitation assets, and water quality management. And the majority of delayed projects related to the regional bulk infrastructure grant, as well as the water services infrastructure grant funded projects. Insofar as the status of Schedule 6B projects under the control of the department, 57% of their big funded projects are delayed, while 18% are completed and 21 are on track. And in addition, 50% of the WISIC funded projects are delayed, while 13% were completed and 30% were reported to be on track. And delayed projects have a significant impact on the costs as budgets are revised due to inflation. For example, the original budget for our big funded projects was 32.8 billion, which increased to 36.9 billion due to delays. So this is really just to reflect on the effect of delays on projects. That the downside of that is that the delays really reduces the budget that would have otherwise gone to expand services to other areas. So those should be prevented at all costs. And then the summary of reasons or causes of delays, they have pointed out the lack of adequate supervision of contractors by implementing agents, as well as the late identification of poor performance by contractors. And this affects the timelines for projects completion. And the other issue is that there were no actions taken against poor performance by implementing agents, inadequate oversight by department to address identified challenges early in the process to unblock the project delays. Due diligence is not performed by department on air and or the implementing agent to determine whether the contractors appointed have the financial resources and the capacity to complete the project. So this was one of the findings relating to a situation where a company is appointed only to find that when they're supposed to start the work, they do not have the money to start the project. So they wait for like advance payment or something like that. So these are some of the reasons that led to delays in projects. And then they also identified some of the concerns around late payments to contractors by implementing agents that lead to delays as well. The other issues is the coordination between the sister departments like the COCTA. They have indicated that there is a lack of involvement in monitoring of projects where projects are implemented in collaboration with other departments. So that also affects the delivery on projects, so that is compounded by also inadequate monitoring of internal processes, which also leads to delays and so on. And then they've also indicated inadequate management of social issues. In other words, community participation, business forums, resulting in access restrictions by communities. So this is where the communities are protesting, where projects perhaps maybe there was not enough community consultation, and people then they feel that no, the work will not proceed unless we are informed or some of us are appointed as workers in the project. And the Auditor General singled out the Mkolo Crocodile Water Project in Limpopo, Mkomazi Water Project in KwaZulu-Natal as the significantly delayed projects under the TCTA. These projects are delayed by 4 to 7 years respectively, and the Mkolo planned completion was April 2025 and has been revised to 18 April 2029, while the Mkomazi has been delayed from 2025 to 2032. So you can see the effect of delays directly affecting these projects by almost more than 4 years. That is really unacceptable. But the issues relate to a lot of other things. For an example, in Mkomazi, the issue that they had raised it was the issue of bankability of the project, which the eThekwini municipality could not sign the offtake agreement because it was too expensive for them. So those are some of the issues that the Auditor General indicated to us. Then let's move on to the one other issue that I would like to bring to the attention of members is the bucket eradication program, which I've already indicated, but also it's the one that is also significantly delayed, and there's been also issues around expenditure. So from 2021 to 2022-23, the department has spent less than 10% of its allocated budget and only 16% of the allocated budget over the MTEF period has been spent, and none of the PEP projects in Free State, Northern Cape have been completed to date. So we have got a table here that shows the expenditure as well as delivery over the MTF period. So that is from 2019 up to 2024. And you can see that for the 2019, then only 692 were eradicated, but expenditure was 63%. And 2021, 592 achieved, and budget expenditure was 1%. So then the following years, then there was nothing that was achieved. So, but expenditure also, you can see it's also a minimum. The Blue Drop Watch report identified 267 critical water systems for the 144 water service authorities and 1,186 water supply systems. Upon release of the Blue Drop report on 5 December 2023, 29% critical water supply systems were identified that belongs to the 42% of water services authorities, representing a deterioration of 10 in critical water system, water supply systems. And this deterioration was noted mainly on the Northern Cape from 39 in 2022 to 123, and can be attributed to many factors, including a lack of monitoring, availability of supporting information as proof of implementation to Blue Drop assessors, and lack of qualified staff, including engineers, process controllers, scientists, and skilled maintenance staff. So then they, at the end, the Auditor General provided recommendations to the Portfolio Committee, which we will reflect upon in detail at the end of this report. So I will pack this for the later on. We are going to look at them in detail. Section 4, overview of the financial and non-financial performance of the department for the year under review. The department operates 2 financial accounts, that is the main account and the water trading entity, popularly known as the WTE. And the main account is funded mainly from the fiscus, while WTE receives income from water sales and construction services. And at certain instances, the main account augments the WTE budget for operational costs when necessary. Notwithstanding the Auditor General findings, the financial performance assessment is provided per account, as each account has its own financial performance targets that were independently audited. The main account financial performance for the year under review, the department received 22.2 billion appropriation. This amount was adjusted downward to 21.38 billion during the adjusted appropriation process. And the department spent 21.3 billion or 99.8% of the available budget, resulting in an underspending of 44 million or 0.2%. So this is a good performance insofar as the expenditure is concerned. And majority of the under expenditure relates to Schedule 5B portions of the both RBIC as well as WESIC, including bucket eradication and drought intervention projects. The reasons for delays too, among others, are alleged construction mafia masquerading as community forums, delays in supply chain management processes, contractors without capacity, resulting in cash flow problems, delays in the finalization of service level agreements, labor unrest due to late payments of wages, and other technical issues. The department indicated that there was no rollover request made during the year under review. However, variants were made from the administration and water services management programs to the water services management program in the amount of 123 million. Of this amount, 65 million was deducted from the savings on goods and services and capital payments from the administration program to defray over expenditure on capital assets in the water services management program under the regional bulk infrastructure grant. The department received unqualified audit opinion with findings, as I've already indicated. And the slow pace of resolving inherited irregular expenditure is a cause of concern. Unauthorized expenditure, 641 million, also remains unresolved from the previous years. So this is something that the department is grappling with. As we have seen, the unauthorized expenditure, it's from previous year as far back as 2016. So that is an old issue that is currently under consideration, I think, here at Parliament. There is a process that needs to go through for it to be condoned. So that is the process that the department is currently going through. That is, in a nutshell, the financial performance of the main account. Water trading entity financial performance. This was established in 1983 under Exchequer Act as a trading account operating as an integral part of the department. The status of government trading accounts was eventually changed through the PFMA, converting trading accounts into trading entities. That is how this came about. And then it reports directly to the accounting officer of the department. And it has two programs, Water Resource Management Unit, as well as Infrastructure Branch. Water Resource Management deals with water resource management functions that primarily address the use, conservation, and allocation of water resources sustainably and equitably to benefit the people residing in the relevant water management areas. This component is funded through revenue generated from water users in the area. This component is funded through revenue generated from water users in the area, partly augmented from the fiscus, which covers the shortfall where revenue is inadequate to cover the entire operations. As was the case in the previous financial year, the WTE received an qualified audit opinion with findings on compliance with legislation. Overall, the entity's financial performance has improved significantly. For instance, the WTE did not implement adequate preventative internal controls, such as an effective compliance checklist to prevent non-compliance with legislation, mostly relating to adhering to proper procurement processes for obtaining quotations, competitive bidding process, applying local content procedures. This resulted in a regular expenditure amounting to 26 million and fruitless and wasteful expenditure amounting to 29 million. So I've already alluded to these issues. As a result, total irregular expenditure stands at 362 million, while fruitless and wasteful expenditure stands at 100 million for the year under review. It is worth noting that irregular expenditure of 990 million was condoned from the previous year, cumulative expenditure of 6.7 billion. So this is relating to the historical irregular expenditure. The performance of both accounts appears to be stable but stagnant from the previous year. However, the condonation process for both irregular, fruitless, wasteful expenditure should be fast-tracked to improve the financial performance of the entire department. The Special Investigation Unit, SPS investigations, internal disciplinary action, civil litigation should also be prioritized, and the portfolio committee should be updated regularly. So these are the issues that the committee raised while they were being briefed. 4.3 overview of the performance per program. Here we're looking at non-financial performance, and it's organized under 3 programs. And the department on average has achieved 70% of its planned targets for the year under review. This performance is in line with the strategic performance assessment provided in Table 4. As you can see below, there were 6 strategic oriented outcomes in relation to MTSF priorities. The first one relates to efficient, effective, and developmental oriented department, which was achieved, overachieved at 101%. Number 2, ecological infrastructure protected and restored, 100% achieved. Water demand was reduced and water supply increased. So this is the priority number 3, which is partially achieved. So this is a cause for concern, but obviously it's obvious. We all know the water losses and the issues around water supply in the country. So that is really a true reflection of what is on the ground. Priority number 4, water and sanitation services managed effectively. That is the priority. Then it was achieved 100%. Enhanced regulation of the water and sanitation sector, 100%, which was a battle in the 2 previous years. You can see it was partially achieved, and but this year, the year under review, then they managed to achieve it. Water redistributed for transformation. You can see in 2021, they failed completely to achieve any objective relating to that priority. But in 2022-23, they achieved it, and then the current year, they achieved 100%. And now we delve into the programs. This program provides the strategic leadership and service support services to the ministry and the department through various activities such as financial management, shared corporate support service, and the coordination of water resources between neighboring countries. And it has achieved 69%. And some of the targets that are worth noting is that the department failed to achieve the 150 data days, which unfortunately increased by 269 from 269 to 490. So this is a battle that they have faced. So we know the water debts across the municipalities and water boards, so that this relates to that situation. And the other issues that are worth mentioning is around the small medium enterprise. They exceeded their targets. by 19, where they had planned 15. So that is, in summary, the targets around Program 1. Program 2, Water Resources Management, which is responsible for protection, use, development, conservation, management, and control of water resources, sustainable for all people and the environment. So this program achieved 71% of its planned targets, and then down from 75 from the previous year. And the targets that are worth noting is the creation of the 2 catchment management agencies, and then also the issues around submission or evaluation of the performance plans around Trans-Caledon Authority, as well as Water Research Commission, and also transformation of irrigation boards into water user associations. Then the other issue is the issue of around the establishment of the water economic regulator, which the department could not submit to cabinet for establishment. That is one issue that they did not achieve under this program. Program 3, Water Services Management, deals with the water and sanitation service provision across water and sanitation value chain to support water service authorities. And under this program, they achieved 73% and is the best performing program amongst the program of the department. Notwithstanding this performance, the department managed to collect a number of water balances for 8 large water supply systems, conducted the national report on municipal strategic self-assessment within the water services authorities, metros and secondary cities. So those are some of the issues that they managed to do under this program. And then they managed to gazette the Water Services Amendment Bill, which I believe we will deal with it at some time, at some point during the term of this parliament. And then under this program, they created 722 jobs across the country through our big projects. Also this program played a critical role in alleviation of drought across the country by providing water to drought-stricken areas. And then the issues around all these achievements, we still have, there are still some of the important projects that they could not fulfill. For an example, the Nandoni water treatment works, the Port Noloth bulk water supply, and as well as the issue around the bucket toilets. So those are the issues that are worth noting under the performance of the department. And insofar as we conclude the performance of the department, 99% expenditure of the adjusted budget, which is higher than the previous year. So we can see from the beginning of the term, 2019 up to now, the department has really progressed insofar as expenditure is concerned and achieving its targets. So in other words, the department is becoming more and more stable. Then Table 5 provides a summary of key selected targets. As you can see, some of them were achieved, some of them were not achieved. In particular, the one that we need to check there, it's the mega regional bulk infrastructure projects, which 20 were planned and only 18 were achieved. And the issues around the water use authorizations, these are water licenses, 80% processed and finalized as a target, but only 60%. So that is 81 out of 1,342 applications that were received. So it's still a battle there, but it's a battle in the right direction. And you can see number of dam safety, as we have seen from our recent oversight, that the issue of dam safety, there are issues there. So they had planned to do 2, but they failed to do 2 because of the delays in procurement of construction materials and issues of rain and suspension of work and all of that because of the environmental conditions. So I think those are some of the issues that are worth mentioning. I think I should also reflect on the issues around bulk raw water projects. In preparation for implementation. They had planned to do 6 and only 1 was done. And that some of the projects that they could not do is the Nwamitwa Dam, which was delayed because of the procurement of archaeological professional service provider. So someone to do heritage studies, they could not find that person. And the Zalu Dam, which is part of, I think it's the project in Eastern Cape, the Coney Dam, Foxwood Dam, and the Tuhwa Dam. So those are some of the delayed projects that they had planned to do during the year under review. Section 5, overview of the performance of entities supporting the work of the department. Water Research Commission. Water Research Commission is established through the Water Research Act of 1971, and it is established to promote coordination, cooperation, communication concerning water research and development, establish water research needs and priorities, stimulate and fund water research according to priority, promote the effective transfer of information and technology, enhance knowledge and capacity building within the water sector. So that is, in a summary, the mandate of Water Research Commission. So that is the work that they are established to do. And insofar as financial and non-financial performance is concerned, they have organized their work under 5 key programs: administration and governance program, which supports the business of Water Research Commission in terms of planning, risk management, assurance services, and governance structures, and setting appropriate parameters for organizational performance. And knowledge and impact programs focuses on, among other issues, heightening the Water Research Commission profile and extending its footprint throughout collaborative partnerships, stakeholder management, knowledge dissemination, and communication. So during the year under review, the WRC undertook a series of stakeholder engagements, including roadshows to Northern Cape, which rolled out the water research plan, commitment to support the interventions by SALGA, as well as the provincial cooperative governance and human settlements, the departments and other stakeholders. These roadshows led to partnership to develop an arid water center at Sol Plaatje University, training of process controllers in Northern Cape in partnership with Water Institute of Southern Africa, Process Controllers Division, training of officials in Northern Cape on flood estimation and asset management in partnership with Institute of Municipal Engineering of Southern Africa, as well as cooperation with the Department of Basic Education and the Department of Water and Sanitation, and the Water Research managed to transfer a full recycled toilet system to 20 schools in the Eastern Cape. This is one of the systems that they have indicated that it has won an international award in Kagiso, in Gauteng. So it's one of the flagship projects that they have done. And also one to mention also is a hydroponic plant, which was transferred to a community in Limpopo to support and improve smart farming and to save water while increasing food production. So those are some of the things that the Water Research Commission, through its research, has managed to develop and piloted in some of the areas. And insofar as innovations are concerned, it has also managed to collaborate and innovate around the organomold counteracts, which reduce sludge and remove foul smell in pit toilets. So this is a system or instrument that is used to take away the foul smell that comes from pit toilets. And Aquonic technology as a decentralized wastewater and grey water treatment. So you can see a lot of work that they are doing around issues of sanitation and innovation. So that is in a nutshell the performance of the Water Research Commission. So also the issues around finance, the finance program is primarily responsible for financial and supply chain management, business processes within the Water Research Commission. And Wallace Water Research Commission has augmented its research funding by partnering with stakeholders who provide funding for water research. Levy remains the primary funding source. So in other words, the water research levy, which is collected mainly by Rainwater and Umgeni Utukela water research, water boards. It's the main source of funding for Water Research Commission, but also Water Research Commission partners with other funding institutions, international and local ones, to conduct water research. So that is the work of the Water Research Commission. And Table 6, financial performance. This is a summary and extract from the annual report of the Water Research Commission, where it just shows how much they received and how much they spent. You can see majority of their income comes from the water sales as water research levies, as we have alluded to. Audit outcomes pertaining to the Water Research Commission, as we have indicated that they have reneged from the clean audit in the previous year to unqualified with findings, mainly with compliance with legislation in relation to annual financial statements that were submitted with auditing, which had material errors, but the errors were resolved. That's why then it became unqualified. Okay, then let's move on to Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority, which was established in 1986 to finance and construct a delivery tunnel north of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. It is a Schedule 2, which is known as a major public entity in terms of PFMA. And in 1994, TCTA received a directive to fulfill the financial obligations of the South African government regarding the water transfer component in Lesotho. And the notice notice of establishment was amended in 2000 to include this directive and allow the minister to issue directives to TCTA. So the mandate of, although it started in 1986, but we can see in 2000 amended and so on, and then to provide authority to the current minister to also give directive to this. And TCTA is responsible for implementing, operating and maintaining phase 1 and 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project, and also performs other functions as directed by the relevant minister. And you can see the National Water Act allows the minister to direct TCTA to provide various services to water management institutions. Apologies about that. Then in summary, the TCTA is responsible for project restructuring, funding and implementation, liability management, tariff setting, advisory services, and knowledge management. It also builds infrastructure on behalf of the department, raises funding for projects which are repaid by users, and operates and maintains acid mine drainage treatment plants in Gauteng and a delivery tunnel north of Lesotho Highlands Water Project. And overview of the performance of the TCTA. If we look at the table 7 overview of the performance during the year under review, Umkomazi Water Project Phase 1, project cost 27 billion. This is the cost when the project is completed. It will be this is the amount that would have been spent. And the description of this project is transfer of water from Umkomazi River to augment the Mugeni system, which supplies domestic water to approximately Pietermaritzburg regions. And it involves building 81 meters high Smithfield Dam and associated infrastructure in the Umkomazi River near Balwe, including a water conveyance infrastructure, The other major project that is worth mentioning under the year review, under the current year, it's the Berg River fuel flay, which will cost 1.2 billion, and the project will augment water supply to the Western Cape water supply system during the winter months. It will involve the installation of a weir and a pump station at the Berg River with a 6.3-kilometer pipeline discharging water into fuel flay dam. Vaal River system at a cost of 4.5 billion. The funding program for the Vaal River system is used to meet the financial obligation of South Africa to Lesotho to pay for the phase 2 of Lesotho Islands Water Project. The Vaal River system supplies water to 46% of the country's economy and 33% of the population. Phase 2 of the Lesotho Islands Water Project comprises the Polyali Dam and the transfer tunnel to Katse Dam. The project will augment the water supply in the Vaal River system by 480 million cubic liters per annum. So this is the project that perhaps if our oversight in December towards the end of this term materializes, then members will be able to see the work that is being done under phase 2, as well as the tunnel that is currently under maintenance. So that is the work in the pipeline. And phase 2 of Mkolo Crocodile River water augmentation project, that is at a cost of 12.3 billion. The project will augment water supply to Eskom, independent power producers associated with coal mining, Lephalale municipality, and also unlock economic development in the Waterberg coal fields. Construction of a weir and pump stations at Tabazimbi and 160. So that is in a nutshell what this project would involve, or what it's all about. And then projects in close-out phase. These are the projects that they are complete, so they are doing final stages of completion. The costs were not provided. In summary, the Berg Water Project is a dam and a supplementary system which were declared operational in 2009. And it's the heritage display associated with a Scare farmhouse, and is in the implementation phase. The tender was issued to the market and the evaluation has been concluded and approved. The contract is expected to be awarded in the second quarter of 2024-2025 with the work scheduled for completion within the financial year. The project will be closed out in 2026-25 in line with 12-month guarantee period. So it's quite a small out, really. It's a close-out phase for this project. Then the phase 2 of Moi Mungeni transfer scheme, which is a biodiversity offset, is a requirement of the project designed to secure the long-term protection and conservation of grasslands, wetlands, rivers in the catchment. The biodiversity offset project approach is in the process of being amended in collaboration with the Department of Forestry, Fisheries, and the Environment, Monitoring and Compliance, the Biodiversity Offsets Working Group, and the Zimbelo Nature, KwaZulu-Natal Nature Reserve. So this project is a project where the TCTA is funding conservation of biodiversity as an offset for the damage perhaps some of their projects are causing in other areas. So that is what we call the biodiversity offset project. Olifants River Water Resources Development Project, Phase 2C. The project comprises 40-kilometer distribution pipeline from the Wop Dam, which feeds the Wop water treatment works at Steel Bridge, and it also includes a pump station near Steelport, where it can interconnect with the Lephalale Water Users Association infrastructure. It provides water to the eastern limb of the Bushveld complex, that is the mining area, as well as the municipal consumers in the Sekhukhune district municipality. And in terms of advisory services, the TCT is providing advisory services on Mzimvubu Water Project, which aims to develop the water resources in Mzimvubu River catchment to provide stimulus for regional economy in terms of domestic water, irrigation, hydropower generation, and job creation. Then Mwamitwa Dam Project, TCTA, to develop the funding model that will determine the commercial viability of the project. If deemed viable, TCTA will become the implementing agent for the project. TCTA is drafting a service level agreement with the department to be finalized in the next reporting period. Then in terms of operation and maintenance, the TCTA is maintaining the delivery tunnel north of Lesotho Highlands Water Project. We have received a briefing on this in detail in one of our committee meetings. But in summary, the tunnel is from the border between Lesotho and South Africa to Ash River outfall north of Clarence in the Free State. The TCTA complied with all its operation and maintenance obligation to ensure that the infrastructure could deliver the scheduled 779 million cubic meters of water at the designated outlet point in the Ash River. So that is the maintenance that is currently underway, which is also affecting water supply in Gauteng. Acid mine drainage treatment plants, operation of 3 plants in Gauteng to treat acid mine drainage to an acceptable quality before discharging into the environment. In the Western Basin, the water effluent discharged into Twelopi Spruit met the department specification, except on one occasion when the turbidity limits were exceeded. In Central Basin, the water effluent discharged into Ellisbeck Spruit. In the Eastern Basin, the water effluent is discharged into the Blessbox Spruit. So there are three water treatment plants which members will be able to visit during the term of Parliament and see how this works. Financial performance of TCTA. Table, let's look at the, I think we can describe it as, let me quickly deal with, the financial performance of TCTA can be better understood by analyzing the following elements: tariff receivable, cash and cash equivalents, retained income, financial market liabilities. The tariff receivable represent TCTA entitlements to recover project costs and debt incurred for national water infrastructure projects. The amounts received from department reduced the outstanding tariff receivable balances. As far as debt management is concerned, all projects, capital and interest payments were made on the due date and within the borrowing limits. Lesotho Highlands Water Project remains the highest debt, followed by the VRESA with respect to the debt distribution per project. Majority of this debt is held by the Rand Water Merchant Bank at 31%, Standard Bank 30%, Investec 21%. So these are the banks that are funding some of the projects, and we can see here Rand Merchant Bank is funding majority of projects with 31% and Standard Bank 30% and Investec 21%. So that is for the year under review. Financial reporting and operation statistics. The tariff receivable, you can see they increased from last year 8.8 billion to 9.9 billion. So that is the insofar as the financial reporting and operation statistics is concerned, and the TCTA statement of financial position as summarized in table 8 shows the tariff receivable higher than the previous year. This is a result of tariff revenue received from the department for the year being less than the expenditure incurred on projects, as well as increased project activity in Lesotho Highlands Water Project Phase 2. The tariff billed is below budget due to volumes billed being lower than budgeted volumes, while operation expenses are below budget due to low tariff costs, impairment reversal, operation and maintenance, and royalties paid to the for Lesotho Highlands Water operations and maintenance. The expenditure regular expenditure relates to contracts that were entered into in prior financial years. There is a reduction in regular expenditure incurred over the years. TCTA reported a balance of regular expenditure of 61.7 million. However, as of 30 September 2024, the balance was 12.3 billion, which will be submitted to the board for removal. The TCTA audit outcomes remained stagnant and at unqualified audit opinions. With findings, they continue to have compliance with legislation. Findings on annual financial statements, consequence management, and the Auditor General indicated that these findings relate to historical matters of fruitless and wasteful expenditure where TCTA could not locate the invoices concerned to commence with consequence management processes. So here the 30 September is a typo there, so it will be 24, so that is rectified. That is in summary the performance of TCTA. And now we move on to the catchment management agencies. CMAs, this is a water management institution established in terms of Section 78 of the National Water Act and operates in a specific water management area or a catchment. The CMA performs water resource management, which includes protection, utilization, development, conservation, management, and control of water resources with the involvement of local communities. So the CMA is a Schedule 3A entity in terms of Public Finance Management Act. So that is in summary what CMAs are. In fact, you can see that their mandates really directly relates to the department. So they are an extension of the department. A CMA has the following inherent functions in terms of Section 79 and 80 and Schedule 3 of the National Water Act 1998. So they are responsible for investigating and advising interested persons on water resource management, compilation of the catchment management strategies for a water management area, coordinate related activities of water users and water management institutions, promote coordination of implementation of any applicable development plan, promote community participation in water resource management. There are two CMAs that reported to department during the year under review, namely the Breede Olifants Catchment Management Agency, known as BOCMA, formerly known as Breede Koritz, and the Nkomat Usutu Catchment Management Agencies. So you can see these are the two fully fledged CMAs, although we have proto CMAs which are still currently within the department, but these are the fully fledged entities that are operating independently. And then we reflect on the performance of the Breede Olifants Catchment Management Agencies, which manages water resources in the Breede Olifants Water Management Area. It largely falls within the Western Cape province, with small portions of the upper catchment of the Olifants River falling in the Eastern Cape province and portions to the northern section falling within the Northern Cape province. And BOCMA has 30 municipalities, which include metro and 5 district municipalities and 24 local municipalities. Insofar as the financial, non-financial performance is concerned, for 2023, the budget was 87.9 million, which is slightly higher than 82 million for 2022-2023. The augmentation allocation from department for 2023 financial year amounted to 42.2 billion, which shows a slight increase of 2 million compared to the prior year. The expenditure during the 2023-2024 financial year increased from 90.2 million to 94.6 million. The increase is largely attributed to the increase in the provision of doubtful debts. The annual salary cost increase is due to the number of staff employed as well as cost of living increase. The employee-related costs include salary, staff benefits, travel, and subsistence costs, which are the key cost drivers for the budget of this agency, with almost 60% of the overall budget. So in other words, the CMAs mainly, their expenditure relates to employees because they do not have a majority of assets or infrastructure type of things, of projects to manage. The agency spent 7.7 million on community projects such as rainwater harvesting tanks, alien vegetation clearing, and water analysis. The revenue from catchment management charges reflects an increase of 8.6% when compared to the prior year. Data's collection days reflect 164 days in 2023-24 compared to the prior year, which reflects 196. So in other words, they've managed to reduce data's days. So in other words, their customers are paying well on time. So they are managing in really from 196 to 164. So that is an improvement. And it is worth noting that BOCMA received a clean audit for the year under review, which is an improvement from the previous year. However, there is an irregular expenditure of 8 million reported from previous year emanating from non-compliance with the 3 quotations rule and the non-declaration of interest. So that is the irregular expenditure. As far as the non-financial performance concerned, BOCMA has organized its performance under 7 strategic objectives, namely water resources planning, water use management, institutional stakeholder relations, water allocation reform, water resource protection, strategic support, management, and governance. So all in all, they managed to achieve targets planned under these programs, except for water resource protection, which is 75%, as well as strategic support, water allocation reform, which is 67%. The target that was not met under water allocation reform pertains to installation of rainwater harvesting tanks due to budget cuts worth 2.5 million, which only provided for 340 tanks out of 400. The vacancy in the Breede Overberg region reduced the capacity to investigate non-compliance cases which affected the achievement of targets for water resource protection objective. The agency managed to capture all water use authorizations on WOMS, including the signed and finalized validation and verification letters, and they verified more than 200 properties for water use. BOCMA has more females than males in its staff complement, while Black Africans constitute 73% of the staff complement. It is worth noting that Breede Olifants WMA is in deficit with respect to water availability, with the exception of the Breede catchment. So there is water diversity in terms of water balance. Now, Nkomati Usuthu Catchment Management Agency is approximately, this water management area is approximately 36,256 kilometers squared. That is the area under which the Nkomati Usuthu operates, which is divided by Greater Escarpment, which runs roughly along the Graskop, Sabi, Nelspruit, and Barberton into the Western Plateau and the subtropical lowveld in the east. This affects the rainfall pattern, showing a generalized west-east gradient, with westerly mountain regions receiving as much as 1,200 millimeters per year, and the eastern areas as little as 400 millimeters. So you can see the extremes in terms of rainfall that the 2 sides of the same catchment receives. So IUCM is a transboundary nature and forms part of the Nkomati International River Basin and shared between Republic of Mozambique, Kingdom of Eswatini, and the Republic of South Africa. It has 4 main rivers, subdivide water management areas into 4 main catchments: Sabisand, Crocodile, Komati, and Usutu. And it's entirely located in Mpumalanga, and it comprises 3 district municipalities: Ehlanzeni, Nkangala, and Swande, and 10 local municipalities with a population of 2.3 million. 2 of the local municipalities, namely Msukalikwa and Makazeni, are cross-boundary, falling into other water management areas. Most part of Msukalikwa and Mkazeni falls within the Upper Valley and Olifants water management areas, respectively. Now, the financial and non-financial performance: total revenue collected 187.1 million, which is 18% higher than the collections in the previous year. And the increase is primarily driven by water resource charges. However, historic debt remains a significant challenge for the entity, leading to high impairment provision of 22 million for the year under review. The current collections comprised of 50% government grants appropriated by Parliament, which decreased by 15% compared to last year. This reduction has created operational challenges for the agency. The additional 23% reduction proposed and implemented for 2024-25 places the agency going concern status in jeopardy. So this is something that the committee should note, that there is that concern with the going concern status of this CMA. And total expenditure for the period reached 192 million, marking 34% increase compared to the previous year, and a notable rise in allowance for impairment attributed to poor data's performance following a poor data quality and financial constraints faced by the communal property associations and companies. General expenses increased by 36%. Due to an increase in budgeted and funded project expenditures. Personnel costs, which amounted 58% of total costs compared to 75% in the previous year, increased by 4% year on year following the application of conservative cost of living adjustments. The performance of total revenue in relation to total expenditure led to an operating deficit of 5.5 million, a significant decline from surplus of 14.8 million. The agency received and qualified audit opinion. The agency reported no irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure for the year under review. However, there is a 495,000 worth of irregular expenditure from previous year waiting for condemnation by the governing board. As far as non-financial performance is concerned, BOCMA has organized performance under 4 programs: Administration Governance, Program 2, Human Resource Business Support, Program 3, Finance Management, Program 4, Water Resource Management, and the overall performance in terms of achieving targets at 89%, which is 16 achieved out of 18 planned targets. The targets that were not achieved were the debtors period and working ratio cash, which is cash-based under the finance program. The agency achieved targets across all other programs except the finance program. For example, produced resource quality and quantity and biota status reports, monitored compliance to resource quality objectives, international obligations, and conducted all planned inspections for water quality and quantity-related uses, and enforced against non-compliant users, and registered all approved water use authorizations on WOMS, and processed all water use authorization applications within the regulated time frame. In addition, the agency created 75 jobs for community members through alien invasive vegetation eradication and river rehabilitation programs, and funded 18 graduates in various fields of study such as accounting, environmental law, geohydrology, business management, environmental science, among others. The agency reported 41 vacancies, of which 18 are unfunded, while 13 are funded positions. However, it further reported that these vacancies are not significantly affecting the functioning of the agency. That is in summary Chairperson and honorable members, the performance of the department is its entities. Now we deal with observations and recommendations. This is insofar as we have captured the interactions between the committee and the department together with their entities. And 6.1 relates to delayed water and sanitation projects. The committee noted the alarming number of delayed projects for various reasons, such as unresponsive service providers, lack of monitoring by officials, community protests, construction mafias, and others. And the recommendation here is 6.11. The committee recommended that the department should create a panel of professional service providers that is valid for at least 3 to 5 years to avoid procurement delays. In addition, in cases where the officials lack skills, training should be provided as a first step towards consequence management because of poor performance. TCTA irregular expenditure. The committee noted the lack of detail on TCTA presentation pertaining to regular expenditure. Among other financial indicators, the TCTA indicated that the irregular expenditure reported is from previous years and could not be resolved due to a lack of supporting evidence or records, some of which date back to 2014. In addition, the irregular expenditure is not an indication of malfeasance in these cases, as TCTA was compelled to intervene in a case that would have put South Africa's water security in jeopardy. This case was between the government of Lesotho and a German company that sought to attach the Lesotho Islands Water Project royalties from South Africa. 6.21, the recommendation is as follows. The committee recommended that TCT and WTE should provide a detailed report on irregular expenditure within 14 days. Operation and maintenance of water infrastructure. The committee noted with concern poor maintenance of infrastructure, which is resulting in high water losses, loss of revenue, and the inability to deliver water to its clients. The committee recommended that the department should develop a national action plan to address the maintenance of water infrastructure across the country. Expenditure and audit outcomes vis-a-vis service delivery, in particular water and sanitation access. The committee commended the department on 99% expenditure of the allocated budget. However, the committee raised a concern that the conditions on the ground do not reflect that funds are being spent on water and sanitation access. Many communities do not have access to water and sanitation service despite 99% expenditure and unqualified audit outcomes. The minister noted the concern and indicated that the budget is not enough to reach all corners of the country at once. In addition, water is supposed to pay for itself, but the level of poverty is too high and communities are unable to pay for water services. 6.5, bucket eradication. The committee raised concerns about non-performance and failure to meet targets on the bucket eradication program in the Free State and Northern Cape provinces. The committee indicated that the bucket toilet system is unhygienic, dehumanizing, and unacceptable in both informal and formal settlements. In addition, the bucket toilets are not only in the Free State and Northern Cape, but they are also being used across the country. There are 2 recommendations associated with this observation. The committee recommended that the department revise and draft new timelines to eradicate these bucket systems and adhere to the timelines. 6.5.2, the committee recommended that the department should amend the minimum standards for sanitation to outlaw the use of bucket toilets. The Water Services Act amendments should empower the minister to issue directives on the eradication of bucket toilets in municipalities, and the non-compliant municipalities should be criminally liable. 6.6, Sustainable Development Goal on Water and Sanitation. SDG on water and sanitation is SDG 6 on the list of 17 goals. It pertains to ensuring the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. The committee observed that it appears the country has regressed in attaining the SDG 6 targets on water and sanitation access. There are sewage spills on streets of many settlements across the country. School children are falling into pit latrines. SDG 6 touches 6.1 calls for universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all by 2030. Measured as a percentage of the population using safely managed drinking water services. SDGs target 6.2 calls for access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all, and end open defecation, paying special attention to the needs of women and girls and those in vulnerable situations by 2030, measured as a percentage of the population using safely managed sanitation services, including a hand washing facility with soap and water. The committee recommended that the department should provide a progress report on the Sustainable Development Goal 6 in the fourth quarter of 2024-2025. Recommendations to the Portfolio Committee from Auditor General. These are the recommendations that the Auditor General put forward to the committee. The first one, monitor progress on key projects and request feedback on implementation of action plans to fast-track delayed projects, prevent further delays. These plans must include actions to improve ethical leadership, professionalization of the sector, project management, and contract management. Monitor the drop reports, green, blue, and no drop, and request feedback on collaboration with coordinating departments and other actions taken to assist with water service deliveries at water services authorities. Monitor progress on actions taken to resolve material irregularities. Monitor the implementation of timely consequence management processes. Request feedback on progress on audit action plans implemented by the department and entities in the portfolio to improve audit outcomes and prevent irregular expenditure. And the recommendation is as follows. The Portfolio Committee appreciated the recommendation by AGSA and recommended that the department should provide an audit action plan addressing these issues in the fourth quarter of 2024-2025. Acid mine drainage. The committee noted that the department through TCTA is managing and treating AMD from old derelict mines in Gauteng province, which is not their problem, as the mining companies that benefited from these mines should be the ones rehabilitating these derelict mines. However, the department indicated that these mines are ownerless as they were mined before the current environmental management dispensation, which came into force after 1996 with the adoption of the Constitution and the subsequent environmental laws, such as the National Environmental Management Act 1998. The committee recommends that the Minister of Finance approve the rollover application to enable the department to complete the above-mentioned activities recommendations in the 2023. Now, this is an old. It does not relate to complete the above-mentioned activities and projects in 2023. Yeah, this recommendation is out of place. 6.9, participation of designated groups on procurement. The committee noted the inadequate participation of women, youth, and people with disabilities in procurement in the department and its entities, despite the current provisions. 6.91, the committee recommended that there should be a collaboration with the Ministry of Women, Youth, and People with Disabilities, the Department of Small Business, and the National Treasury on the development of strategy or plan for transformation that would cater for these groups on procurement in the water sector by the first quarter of 2025-2026. Municipal water debts. The committee noted the ever-increasing municipal water debts to the water boards. In addition, the committee observed that the water debt is threatening the water security of the country, and there is an urgent need for resolution of this matter. The committee recommended that the Department, National Treasury, SALGA, and the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs should develop a water debt management plan that should consider top slicing of equitable share, municipal infrastructure grant, among other sources, to address municipal water debt. The committee unanimously commended the Water Research Commission, IUCMA, BOCMA, for excellent performance during the year under review. That is just an observation. 6.12, impact of Water Research Commission. The committee noted the lack of detail on Water Research Commission presentation with respect to the actual deliverables on communities across the country on matters such as sanitation. The Water Research Commission indicated that there are several alternative sanitation technologies that they have rolled out in schools, which are water use efficient and do not require a fully fledged wastewater treatment system. The committee recommended that the Water Research Commission should provide a detailed report on the impact of its research with specific reference to innovative sanitation technologies in the fourth quarter of 2024-2025. In addition, the Water Research Commission should promote the use of alternative sanitation systems in far-flung areas that are located on terrain that is not conducive for waterborne sanitation system, such as some areas in the KwaZulu-Natal. Groundwater pollution. The committee raised the concern that illegal mining activities have the potential to contaminate groundwater with heavy metals and other pollutants, such as polycyclic aromatic compounds and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. The Water Research Commission should conduct research on these pollutants in support of the Blue Drop reports and to safeguard the groundwater systems. Statistics on foreign employees. The committee highlighted that they would like to know about foreign employees in the water sector and which skills and capacities they bring to the department and its entities. The Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation, Honorable Mashogo, indicated that foreigners are allowed to work in South Africa just like any other South Africans who are working abroad, for as long as they have the requisite skills and relevant work permits. Departmental support to IUCMA. The committee recommended that the department should provide more support to IUCMA with respect to budgetary constraints as they ended the year with a deficit which threatens their going concern status. The financial support would also ensure that the funded vacancies are filled so the IUCM could function optimally. Delegated responsibilities to the CMAs in terms of the National Water Act 1998. The committee noted CMAs reports that they do not have full delegated responsibilities with respect to issuing of water use authorizations, and they would like to be able to discharge these delegated functions in full to avoid delays in issuing of water use authorizations. Report to be considered. That is Chairperson, the summary of the proceedings insofar as the BRRR briefings were concerned. So I will hand back to you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Tumani. Thank you for the presentation on the report. Is there any member that would like to speak on the report? Honorable Motlala, you're more than welcome.
No, thanks so much, Chairperson. I just want to add some recommendation. Before that, let me take an opportunity and greet members of Parliament in the Portfolio Committee, yourself, Chair. I think majority of what we spoke to in the committee is been attached to the report. But I want to speak more on the budget eradication program, on the recommendation, Tomani. I don't think we, as much as we have covered this part where we said that we must amend the Water Service Act to explicitly outlaw the use of bucket toilets in both formal and informal settlement, because normally in the portfolio committee, we always speak about formal settlement. In informal settlements, they are bucket systems. So we must eradicate in both. And then we must empower the issue of empowering the minister through legislative amendments to issue binding directives on bucket toilet eradication. I think that is covered, with non-compliant municipalities facing potentially criminal liability. That one is covered. But I think we need to set a target, a timeline for ourselves. That for the department, I propose that we put the timeline of 12 months for complete eradication of bucket toilets nationwide, not just in Free State and Northern Cape. So I think we must add that. The other thing that I want to add is on the acid mine drainage. We need to implement a polluter pays principle retroactively, requiring current mining companies to contribute to a fund for AMD treatment based on their historical mining activities or those of their predecessors. Because I really don't agree with the minister when he says some of those mines that are polluting, they don't even know who the owners are. It's not possible, not in South Africa. I think records are there. We need to go deep and check who are those ones, and we implement the polluter pays principle. People, the mining industries must pay. They are polluting our water, and people are dying in that regard. So the issue of implementing polluter pays principle, rather than just saying that the minister said those mining companies are not known and all those things, we must say that where we get an acid mine drainage, we need to investigate, and when we get them, the polluter pay principle must apply. The other issue is on the Water Research Commission and its mandate. I further request that we require piloting of innovative, self-efficient sanitation technologies, at least in 100 schools in undeserved areas within 18 months. I propose the Water Research Commission must be mandated as well to do that. The other one is with regards to the municipal debts, water debts, Tomani. You spoke about the implementation of immediate top slicing of equitable shares and municipal infrastructure grants to address critical municipal water debts within, that must happen within 3 months, I think, if possible. And then we develop a long-term water debt management plan that includes potential debt write-offs for the poorest municipalities, coupled with strict performance agreements. So that thing, we spoke in the portfolio committee, we also spoke about this potential debt write-offs. I think it must be part of the recommendation, because some municipalities are suffering, they can't generate income. And by having this high debt, it end up putting the municipalities in jeopardy, and they will end up being bankrupt if we don't take care of those municipalities. And lastly, is the issue of water infrastructure maintenance. I recommend that we develop a comprehensive national action. I think it's already been spoken to, plan to address the maintenance backlog of water infrastructure across the country within 6 months. We need to put timelines now. This thing of just saying, and there's no timelines is the things that make us not to achieve what we want to achieve. And then we must include the funding mechanism and the performance indicators in the plan. And then you must also prioritize employment of local communities in maintenance projects to create jobs and build skills. And I saw one of the recommendations says that we requested the portfolio committee. In another one, it was the TCTA to provide us with the report, and they did not do that because I think the 14 days is over now. And then are we taking that as a recommendation for this report to say that we are still waiting for the report from the TCTA? If the TCTA did not submit that report that they promised us, or if the all this the department did not submit the report, we must say that they did not submit those reports. And as such, we don't have the report that speaks to that. I think I'm covered, Chair. I'll end there. Not that I'm covered.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Can we quickly deal before I go to Honorable Ditebe? Can we quickly just deal quickly with the 4 or 5 points? I totally agree with the first one on the bucket eradication timeline. Honorable Member, I think just to be fair to the department as well, is it possible that we can look at the 24 months period? The asset mine drainage, I totally agree that they can't tell us they don't know who the polluters were. They must find out. Maybe they are involved in other companies, but we can't expect the ratepayers or the taxpayers to fund this. The Research Commission, I like your idea of rolling this out to schools, innovation, and because that will also create the awareness of water and the future. I think that is something we should put in. The water debt, we will now meet the National Treasury and COCTA on the 12th. They haven't got enough time for the 29th. That's next week, but we have already rescheduled it, but we will discuss that when we approve program. But the 3 months, it seems reasonable for me also to say between 3 and 6 months. We must come up with a plan. And then the funding model for infrastructure, I think that should also be on the table. So the only thing that I just want to find out from the Honourable Member, whether the 12 months on the bucket eradication, we cannot extend that to 24 months. We know that in the 12 months, they will not be able to do it. So if we do it in the 24 months, there's ample time for them to complete this project. That is what I would put on the table. Can we quickly just find out whether the Honourable Member is willing to look at the amendments of the recommendations that she's made? And let's rather than ask Honourable Ditebe to add to the recommendations, and then we can deal with those recommendations in total. Honourable Ditebe.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I hope Honourable Masala and all of you can see me. Can you? I'll switch off my video here after.
Yeah, we can see you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Chairperson, I think, let me first I will definitely come to what Honourable Masala has raised in respect of the targets, etc. First of all, I think just as far as the text of the report, just a few cosmetic issues. There, I think there's a line in the opening part of the report which says it further empowers the National Assembly to maintain oversight. I think we should add the word over the National Executive, within a particular sector. And I think it should then further read which instance or context. You can use either word. You can say which in this instance or in this context is water sanitation. For purposes, I think we must add that word of this report. And then, of course, it goes, Parliament's mission governs the work of the Portfolio Committee and vision, the rules of Parliament and constitutional obligations. Insofar as they refer, I think we must add that, insofar as they refer to protecting the environment, specifically water resources, throughout the entire water value chain. And I think, again, one slide, cosmetic issue, there it says, there is a part that says the Portfolio Committee's mandate is premised on Parliament's 5 constitutional, and it says mandates. I'd rather we use the word obligations because we've started with the mandate of the Portfolio Committee, so constitutional obligations. And then you can, of course, I think the rest is fine. Now let me come to much more substantive issues, perhaps starting with those that Honorable Mashala has raised. Chairperson, I think it is important that we understand that good intentions on our part, and I'm not trying to second guess anybody here, notwithstanding, we must remember first and foremost that when it comes to our obligation, and in terms of our mandate, we refer to the Constitution. We are talking about progressive realization, for example, in particular of Section 27, which in part, to a very large extent, covers our mandate as the Portfolio Committee on Water and Sanitation, Section 27 within the Bill of Rights. So there it talks about progressive realization. So let me then qualify my contribution and say, I agree with Honorable Mashala that this cannot be open-ended. But in order for us to try and find synergy between what she proposes in terms of the 12-month period, and you suggested 24 months, I suggest that either way, we are highly likely to then defeat the very purpose that we want to achieve. The DPME says they will later on share with us the MTDP, which basically focuses on outcomes. So we don't want just the outputs, but we want the outcomes, and I want to add the impact. So if you look at what we, the content developer of the committee shared with us as far as the number of units, and when I say units, I'm referring to the eradication of the night soil buckets per household, per unit. The department had hoped to eradicate an X number, but then they ended up, that is across the country, with 1,000 plus. First of all, in order to find synergy between what Honorable Mashala is saying with regards to the 12-month period, and you've said let it be 2 months, we should first find out, first of all, how many informal settlements there are and other non-informal settlements within the urban environment, even in rural areas, because rural areas are also affected. How many actually are in need of proper sanitation? And the reason I call it proper sanitation is because I don't want to restrict it to waterborne sewage. And what I commend Honorable Mashala for is that she recognizes the need for alternative technologies here as far as sanitation is concerned. So, for example, instead of us talking about the bucket, the eradication of the bucket system or the night soil bucket system, we should say the eradication of the bucket, the bucket system, with the adoption of appropriate alternative technologies in sanitation, or appropriate alternative sanitation technologies, because then that includes other non-waterborne sewage systems in rural areas, or in maybe even in urban areas where there might be an in situ upgrade of informal settlements. Let me just make an example, Chair. KwaZulu-Natal, rather eThekwini alone, not even the whole of KwaZulu-Natal, eThekwini alone, the city of eThekwini, and we're talking 6 million plus people thereabout. We are talking of 598 informal settlements affecting 304,000 households. Some of these households, in terms of the National Housing Code, may not qualify for an in situ upgrading, which means that while you may be well-intentioned to eradicate the bucket system within 12 months to 24 months, the material conditions that exist are of such a nature in some informal settlements that where people are currently resident or settled, that does not allow the Department of Human Settlements and the Department of Water and Sanitation to do an exhaustive in situ upgrading, which means therefore that it's got to be phrased in such a way that we set ourselves a particular target within a period of 12 months, within a period of the next 12 months, and so forth. Instead of saying universally, this must be eradicated within a certain period of time. In fact, even when it comes to informal settlements, you'll find that we will need we will need 8 years to eradicate those. And every time people settle informally on a piece of land, it calls either for an in situ upgrading or some kind of a transition where people will be provided maybe with the sort of technologies that the WRC has developed. But of course, also those also call for resources. Let me then conclude, Chairperson, by saying the following: that when it comes to the the Water Resource Commission, or perhaps let me just, so that I type my ideas, I'm not opposed in principle to what you say, to what Honorable Mhlala says, but I'm saying within a period of 12 months, let us set ourselves a lofty goal, a goal lofty enough to achieve an X number of eradication of units that are pit latrines, night soil buckets, that I agree with in principle. And the next 12 months, and the next 12 months, and hold the department accountable to that, instead of saying within a period of 12 months. In fact, much of what the report says, lack of archaeological and whatever other experts and so forth, led to the delay in the implementation of some of these projects. Now, think of the same impact when it comes to bucket eradication, although it may not be a mega high-level turnkey project. Now, let me come to some of the recommendations, Chairperson. I think we have omitted what the Water and Research Commission raised with regards to the procurement by government of technologies which government itself funds. In other words, government, whether through TIA, Technology Innovation Agency, or through the Water Research Commission, or through the CSIR, etc., will fund research into this or that type of technology for our purposes, let's say water and sanitation. But then what happens is that that technology just sits on the shelf. Nobody has interest in it. There are no offtake agreements. There are no commercial plans to scale the technology, which therefore one could argue that it amounts to some kind of fruitless expenditure, because government has spent time. It's not just like your blue sky research or something that you just want to test whether it's something that can happen in the next 50 years or so. You're trying to respond to present day challenges. So that's one thing. So it calls, in other words, in the recommendations for us to collaborate with the other portfolio committee on finance to look into the possible amendment of the part in the PFMA that regulates such things as procurement by government technology that it itself has funded. That's the second thing. The other, Chairperson, is that we should perhaps, on the issue of the write-offs, again with Honorable Masala, but remember that the department has actually told us, even National Treasury, remember when we received the issue of the report on the debtors days of a number of water boards, Mahalis, Val Central, etc., that the same arrangement that exists for municipalities, the same framework that exists for municipalities in terms of a debt eradication plan or framework, provided they pay the current invoice and that they pay the old debt for a certain period of time on an unbroken basis, then their debt will be written off. So there is such an agreement. So the committee, I think, needs to phrase it in such a way that what framework exists in respect of debts to ESCOM by municipalities, the same framework must be used in respect of water debts by municipalities to water boards. Because I agree again with Honorable Masala, we need to actually, while we try to solve that problem, we must not destroy the water boards either. Because from 19 water boards now to 7, and of the 7, we now have 2 that are, barely coping, Rand Water, Ungen, Utugela, and the rest are in trouble, So even these 2, you will see at 6 p.m., based on the report that we have seen, that they are also in trouble. I'm talking about Rand Water. So we must have a very balanced approach and not, assume an approach that suggests that we can just decide to write off. So those are issues, Chairperson. I think perhaps if there's an opportunity, I'll also come back to some of these. Maybe the last 2 ones. The choice of words, the phrase that we use, in respect of schools. Remember, in respect of sanitation in schools, all what we do is that we set the norms, the standards. Basic education with public works as the implementing agent. Basic education is primarily responsible in schools. Yes, we will be concerned because we set the standards, the norms for sanitation, for water, etc. So it must be phrased in such a way that the responsibility is placed where it belongs, with us doing oversight in terms of prescribing norms and standards for purposes of water and sanitation in schools. That's the other issue. The last one, Chairperson, is a reference to, like the phrase, the statement says, many children are drowning, are falling into pit latrines, etc. Now, it suggests that the department is failing to do something, perhaps from the point of view of norms and standards, but it's a matter between public works and education. Yes, I'm mindful of the fact that we have to do this together with education and public works within the letter and spirit of one plans of the district development model. So we've got to find a way that binds all other parties. Same thing as when we talk of sanitation, water. We do not do so outside of the framework of what our sister department, human settlements, does. Because inevitably, when it deals with human settlements, there will be water and sanitation issues, bulk supply, reticulation of sewer, of water, potable water, and so forth. So these are issues that I thought I should raise, Chairperson. but by and large, agreeing with the intent. But let's be careful enough not to shoot ourselves in the foot. I think the content developer is listening carefully, and the colleagues, so that just we try and phrase it in such a way that we do not fail as far as that is concerned. Lastly, on the issue of the targets, remember we do this in terms of our own master plan on water and sanitation, that is of the department, but we also do it in terms of the SDG goal outcome. So we don't do outside of that. Of course, resources, but more importantly, management of those. And I think the report itself has shown that. Chairperson, thank you very much. I hope I've made myself clear, responding to what Honorable Mhlala has said as you requested me, and also putting up my own areas that I think we need to focus on. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I think we can combine that. Honorable Moore, can we get your inputs?
Thanks, Chairperson, and thanks to Moni for putting this together, and to my colleagues for their input so far. I'm sure we'll get other good inputs in a moment. I just want to use this opportunity, Chair, to reiterate my views as previously said in committee. Specifically, I said it to the Minister of Water and Sanitation, obviously Honourable Pemi Majadina, and the DG Sean Phillips and his team. I am cautiously optimistic about the work happening in the department, with the energy and effort to improve efficiencies, and where projects are delayed, to spend budget to accelerate other programs. However, when we look at a budget spend of 99.8% of the available budget and compare it to the 70% achievement of planned targets for the year under review, I want to actually quote the report and say expenditure is thus clearly not aligned with performance. Because I had hoped to motivate for more budget for the department as part of this process. We face a serious water crisis in provinces across the country, where the water board's under threat of going bankrupt in the Northwest and the Free State provinces, or shortages of water in Mpumalanga, Gauteng, and KZN, to shortages of raw water, as we've discovered in Limpopo and the Western Cape, due to fast-growing populations. But when we are spending and not achieving our goals, it makes the motivation to the Minister of Finance as part of the budgetary review and recommendation report process challenging. And Chair, I'd like to highlight some of those challenges. I'd like to start talking about some of our projects, the Regional Bulk Infrastructure Grant and the Water Services Infrastructure Grant. These are a lot of our bulk infrastructure projects, and more than 50% of the projects across the country are delayed. Less than 20% of the projects were completed on time. In fact, in terms of the Regional Bulk Infrastructure Grant, we went from 32.8 billion Rand up to 36.9 billion Rand due to the delays. And still only 18% of the projects were completed on time. An example of this is the Umkomazi water project, which I don't need to tell the committee, everyone knows, but it's critical to the water supply to KZN, and it was meant to be completed in April 2025, and now they're looking at March 2032. This is unacceptable. This level of delays is a challenge. I'd also like to talk about spending. We look at the water trading entity, where they only did 39% of the planned maintenance for their projects. And we all know that maintenance of water is contributing to the national water crisis. So, but when I look at the expenditure, though, they only spent 70% of their budget. So they got 17.9 billion Rand in revenue, and they spent 12.5 billion Rand. So they had the money to maintain things, they just didn't do it. And obviously, much has been said about the bucket eradication program. And I think I remember the minister and the deputy minister saying the big challenge of bucket eradication is as you fix problems, more crop up. But that requires you to be fixing problems. And if you actually look at the report, it talks about how in 2019 to 2020 and 2020 to 2021, a small number of toilets, bucket toilets, were eradicated. But for the following 3 years, so more than half the term, not a single bucket toilet was eradicated. And you think at least that would be saving budget, but in order to eliminate no bucket toilets in 2021 to 2022, we spent 15 million rand. In order to eliminate no bucket toilets in 2022 to 2023, we spent 12.5 million rand. And in order to eliminate no bucket toilets in 2023 to 24 financial year, we spent almost 23 million rand. It's great, you know, for us to, and I agree with Honorable Mohlala. Like, I would love to say, let's eliminate bucket toilets, but we have a department who has budgets of 500 million rand and eliminates no bucket toilets. There's a systemic problem in how the department is handling this task, and that's not going to be solved by us putting a target in our document. I'd also like to highlight the debtors days has increased, which is indicative of the bigger, broader challenge from municipalities to water boards to the water trading entity and the department. There's a financial crisis linked to this water crisis that is contained in the reports we read, but doesn't show itself easily in this document that we have. And I could go into the specific key indicators like the number of dam safety rehabilitation projects completed, which was 0, and we know we've had some challenges there. Chair, I think the reality is I approve of what's in the document, but I felt the need to emphasize that there's really a lot of work that needs to happen. I also want to be technical and ask Tumani, if we can do a proofread of the document again. There's some of the numbers don't add up. So on page 9, we refer to 65,450 rand instead of 65 million. And on page 6, when we're talking about the RBIG and WSIG projects, the percentages don't add up. But Chairperson, I want to say I am optimistic about the improved performance of the department, but I want to emphasize that the progress has not been sufficient in the past 5 years, and the department must improve its ability to complete projects on time and in budget. We cannot have core projects failing to be started or completed. We need to ramp up maintenance across the board, and the budget is there. It just needs to be spent before challenges increase year on year till we need budget to rescue us from an entirely new set of crises. Chair, with municipalities and provinces and water crises, we don't need the department to become a national crisis of its own. I believe that the department is working on it. I believe it's possible that we can get this right, and there are good indications the department is pushing to do that. And I have to say, Chair, because it's not contained nicely in this document, to say we really need to push as a committee to support the department in this mission. And we need to perform effective oversight over the next 5 years to ensure they hold to their commitments, because we can't have another 3 financial years of 0 bucket toilets eradicated. So with water, we refer to the progressive realization of rights. And I'd really like us to work to ensure that that progress happens a lot faster for the benefit of all South Africans. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any additional recommendations that you would prefer to see that in the document, especially except those of you have mentioned of the reading, making sure the figures are correct? But is there any recommendations from your side that you would like to add to the report, or are you happy with the report and see what this document comes up with at the end of today when we get the recommendations of all the members?
Chair, I'm happy with the general progress of the report. I just feel that, again, there needs to be emphasis, because it's all good and well for us to talk about stuff that is clear from anyone who reads the annual reports. I just needed to emphasize that we need to make sure that we hold them to better account so that they're actually complete. Because that's my challenge with this process, is I'd love to actually be motivating for more budget. I'd love to make that as a recommendation to say we need to spend more budget on programs to accelerate them. But with the history where we are, I find we're not in a good position to do so. So I think no additional recommendations, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Honourable Ramayila.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to colleagues and the staff. I also would want to concur with the proposal for 12 months by Msala on the eradication of buckets. But I want to add that the department should, within 14 days, submit an acceleration plan. That's the recommendation I want to add. On the matter of top slicing, I think we should just rephrase it to say that is, we should look at, amongst others, top slicing, not limit ourselves to top slicing, because it's not where one shoe fits all. Municipalities have got different situations, and it shouldn't appear as it's a decision that is already concluded on, because it needs a lot of collaboration with SALC and other departments. So I'll prefer we rephrase it to say, among others, consider top slicing. That I think would work better. In as far as TCTA is concerned, because they did not bring the report and the trading entity, but I wanted to propose, especially in as far as the TCTA is concerned, that in as far as the historical irregular expenditure is concerned, that the matter be referred to Chapter 9 institutions, specifically be referred to the public protector, because I see reluctance. And the reason is like this, because I see reluctance in them applying consequence management. The explanation we got was that they can't get hold of documents, support documents. And for me, it shouldn't be like we're stuck. Why can't the matter be referred to the public protector? That's the recommendation I wanted to make. Chair, we have several times asked for audit action plans. I don't know whether we have it. I might not have seen it, and if we have, my apology for that. But I want us to be clear here that we want an audit action plan within 14 days. The monitoring of submission of reports we request is another thing. It lies with your responsibility, I guess. But if you can get that audit action plan within 14 days. But further recommendation is that we should be able to get quarterly reports on audit action plan. It must be a standing item on quarterly basis. Progress report on the audit action plans. That's one thing I wanted to recommend in as far as that is concerned. Chair, something that is not here on the report. I know that at some point there was a water summit. I was going to suggest, because that happened within this MTSF period, that the resolutions, progress report on the resolutions of the water summit be tabled to the portfolio committee. And why I'm saying this, because I think based on that, we may need to advise the minister to hold another water summit, because we are in a crisis. We can't continue to behave like we are not in a crisis. Broader consultation would be necessary to allay the fears that are there in the country. I was trying to look for the stats for research that was done in Gauteng. I can't get it now. But if I recall, that research says consumers in Gauteng, in as far as quality of water is concerned, about 64% of them, they are very doubtful about the quality of water that is being supplied in Gauteng. So therefore, I concretely propose that we get progress report within 14 days, in as far as water summit resolutions are concerned, as a precursor for us to be able to advise whether is there a need for a fresh water summit, or some approach, because we're in a crisis, but we can't behave like we are not in a crisis. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We will take that into consideration. Honorable Mosekatsi, your hand was up. Honorable Matsakatsi, are you still on the platform?
Yes, Chair. Good morning, Chair, and good morning to honorable members on the platform, the department, and all other people on the platform. Chair, let me take this opportunity to make my inputs to the meeting. Let me start by asking the departments, based on the inputs from the other members.
Honorable member, my apology. The department is not on.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
We don't ask questions now. We are finalizing this report that will serve before Parliament. So
Okay, Chair.
you are requested to make recommendations that should be taken up in this report, and not ask any questions because there's nobody to answer those questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. No, I will do that, Chairperson. Thank you for the opportunity. Chairperson, on the recommendations based on the report on delayed projects, which is item 6.7, I would like to add to the recommendations that the department has made on that item that in the Northern Cape, the local municipality Gamagara, there was also one of the delayed projects. So I would like to recommend that that project also be part of the recommendations, which is the Gamagara bulk water project. Phase 1 has been finished. It only delayed when phase 2 has to start in the Northern Cape. And then on the inputs members made, like, for example, the issue of the water boards. Several water boards are grappling with their financial challenges. Some are on the brink of bankruptcy and others are experiencing difficulties with cash flow. And still others are also witnessing a decrease in the payment levels. Has the department considered approaching National Treasury for the bailout of these water boards? Because I believe that it is very important, because water is really a critical resource in our country. And then I'd also like to comment on the country's water consumption, which is significantly surpassed the global average of 173 liters per person or per day, with our consumption standing at 235 liters, which is 36% of, or the 64 liters higher than the global average. What is the plans being implemented by the department to mitigate this high consumption to ensure that water consumption and security for the future generations? Thank you, Chairperson.
Yes, I think your last question is that, or on your last question, if we've got to put that into a recommendation, I think it should rather be where we ask that we look at the water usage in the country, so that there must be emphasis on water use in the country to get that lower to the standard of national. But, you know, we can't ask that question in this report. But we can make a recommendation that we must get our people in the country water-wise, and those are using excessive water must be either penalized or we must get that down to acceptable levels, more or less something in that way, putting it as a recommendation. Colleagues, thank you for that. Is there any other member that also would like to add something to this report?
Yes, Chair. My hand is up.
My apology. Let me just quickly see whether there is other hands up or other members before I come back to the members that already made some recommendations. It seems there's no hands. Honorable Matlala, your hand was up first.
No, Chair.
No,
Chair.
Honorable Yes, honorable member.
So, no, maybe I thought, Chair, my hand went up before that of Honorable Masala, but I don't mind. She can come first. But I did raise my hand virtually, so maybe you didn't look at the list of participants to recognize my hand, but it's okay. You can let her go first.
Yeah, honorable members, let's then say ladies first. I had a hand up on my screen first, but I think your gesture is correct. Let the member go, and first, Honorable Matlala.
Well, thanks so much, Chairperson.
Honorable Matlala. I've
No.
always said that Honorable Ditebe is a gentleman, and it seems he is a gentleman.
Okay, no, so thanks so much, Chairperson. Gentlemen will never complain that the hand is up before the one of Honorable Mashala. That was the first sign that he is not a gentleman. So let's move. Chairperson, I don't have actually. I want to come to this thing of Honorable Ditebe. The information he provided with regards to the issue of informal settlement and settlement matter. And I'm afraid if you can come to with that angle, Honorable Ditebe, we're going to end up benchmarking ourselves with the failures of government, because you guys remember, most of the issue of the things, why they did not happen is because the government failed to provide for the people. Some of them was due to corruptions and everything. You brought the issue of informal settlement. That is not going to be easy for us to do those things in informal settlements because they've been there, and it's not easy. You must first start with the issue of relocating those people to proper places. All that is the failure of government, because those people, they've been there for many years, for decades. If it's not 2 decades, some of them, if you go to KZ, and majority of the people that are living in squatter camps is the failure of government, because the government have failed in decade to put these people in proper places. So that thing make me to raise this hand, Chair, is let's also call meetings with human settlement. You know, I don't know why did they separate this Ministry of Human Settlement and Water and Sanitation, because truly speaking, Honorable Ditebe is correct. How do you implement proper sanitation in informal settlement? You must first put these people in proper places first. And the Department of Human Settlement is not doing that. Our people have been staying in places that are not proper. When there are floods come and take them, they die in numbers. So the government have land. If it doesn't have land, it must expropriate land without compensation and put our people in proper places to stay so that water can come to their yards. So I propose, if it can be a recommendation, we must also have a meeting with Human Settlements Department where we will talk about the issue of land, of providing land to the people that are living in places that are not suitable for people to stay on them. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Ditebe.
Yeah, Chair, let me agree with you on your characterization of me relative to Honorable Masala. And I think as a sister, she's indicated that I've been very kind to share very important information with her and the rest of the members, which information basically complements what she said earlier. In any case, our goal is, one, to ensure oversight. Yes, we must be robust, but equally we must be quite realistic and not be gung-ho in just how we do that. But as far as holding the executive to account, in full agreement with her. Let me come to just the 2 issues that I think you've asked us to look at. I think, Chair, the issue that you flagged, and I think Honorable Moore, I need to thank him on the issues that he's raised. the department, in the recommendation, we must say that the department must outline a smart program to rescue water boards and hold municipalities and by extension consumers accountable. This you will see, Chairperson, that this relates to the no drop reports, water leaks, loss, etc. Now, this also speaks that you raised. Let me be more specific. We know that in our country, for example, if you look at, I think, Johannesburg, it's 269 liters per person per day, which is by far more than the national average of 218 liters. The international one is 173 liters. So the goal of this portfolio committee should be to nudge the department to gravitate towards, at the very least, 173 liters per person per day, which then, Chairperson, leads me to the other issue in the report. There's just a bland or broad reference to unemployment on the part of people. Remember, Chairperson, that we have equitable share. And let me phrase it, because the purpose of our discussion today is to look at recommendations. And that should say, while unemployment and poverty are a lived experience for many, equitable share must be used effectively, efficiently, and economically, along with ability on the part of other users to pay, that is for water consumption. Because we cannot afford to lump everybody together and say, there's widespread poverty. We are making excuses. Fact of the matter is, there are indigent people, Chairperson, I'm talking about what I witness every day, who use water hoses to water their gardens, and they qualify as potential beneficiaries of the equitable share to be provided with a minimum amount of water, but they just don't take the necessary measures. But I blame municipalities as well. So that is what I'm saying. While unemployment and poverty are a lived reality for many, or experience, equitable share must be used effectively, efficiently, and economically, along with ability to pay by other users. And the last one, Chairperson, we urge the catch management agencies and water boards to ramp up effective and efficient water management systems, and so that we can drastically reduce our over-reliance on water insofar as we source it from the Lesotho Highlands Water Project, which, as you saw in the report, Chair, there's the second phase of that project, which numbers almost 43 billion. And it's all because we are so heavily dependent on Lesotho. But if we manage what we have, even without building more dams, we work drastically on the no drop water effects within our country, even with us being a semi-arid land, that notwithstanding, Chairperson, we will still be able to manage 173 liters of water per day per person, with a very comprehensive water management system by water boards, municipalities, CMAs, and the department broadly, Chair, as the provider of raw water sources. Thank you.
Thank you for that input. Honorable Ramaila.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Sorry, I just forgot one thing on my notes. That thinking for us as the portfolio committee to have some handle over the school sanitation matter, was going to propose that we make a recommendation that requests the the Department of Basic Education to submit school sanitation backlog statistics, and that on quarterly basis they should be able to present a progress report to that effect. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Honorable Moore.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry to come in for a second bite, but after hearing my colleagues and their inputs, I felt I could actually give some specific input for one delayed water and sanitation projects. I think potentially we could look at 6.1.2 that refers to the need to engage with other departments in order to seek better skills in order to be able to complete projects timeously and under budget or on budget. Something along those lines could be quite valuable to include there, and also an element somewhere here, because I've been looking back and forth where to include it within the existing document. But I think it is actually valuable to put into our recommendations that the budget for the Water and Sanitation Department needs to be prioritized during a time of water crises across the country. We cannot afford to reduce the budget for this department, and that I know that the entire national government is looking at a tight fiscal situation. However, in some form, I'd like to see an inclusion in our recommendation that the department do not receive a reduction due to the nature of crises facing them, and potentially even we could motivate for an increase in budget for them to better be able to handle the challenges, noting that prioritizing water as a critical service. Water isn't like sports or rec, and I'm not taking anything away from that department. I'm just using an easy example. Water is absolutely critical to every South African, and it would be very easy for us to find some way of including a recommendation to protect the budget of the department and its entities in this observations and recommendations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kobe.
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, just to dovetail on what Honorable Moore was saying, maybe if we can propose that they ask the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, but more particularly Infrastructure South Africa, which has preoccupied itself mostly with issues of infrastructure. So, and they have done their projects quite timeously. They usually conclude their projects in about between 2 and 3 years. So, and within budget, and they work mostly as providing debottlenecking services to government departments, especially when it comes to infrastructure projects. So I think it would be wise for us to sort of collaborate with ISA, and maybe the department could get best practices from ISA, Infrastructure South Africa, so that we see an end eventually to project delays that are costing us billions. That's all. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, I think I'm going to ask Tumani now just to add all these recommendations or speak on these recommendations that we could change. One thing I just want to say that the department has informed us when they talked about the bucket eradication. Although we know that it is their responsibility to do the infrastructure on toilets, they indicated to us that it is not recommendable from their side to put down the infrastructure if the municipality has not started with the connection of those toilets. So in saying that the department is at default, that is true, but they're not 100% in default, because the MIC funds that the municipality receives to put down the infrastructure so that they can connect these, remove these bucket toilets and replace them. We've seen places where in the Eastern Cape where there were toilets standing for hundreds of meters with no infrastructure in the ground to connect them to. So in that sense, I think we could also recommend the department for not spending that money just to say, but I have I've eradicated some of these buckets, but it's useless of eradicating them if it's not connected to a system. So I think what we really need to do is that between the department and COCTA, there should be a plan put on table simultaneously that when the infrastructure is in the ground, the department will then only move in to put in the structure, the toilet structure, and not other way around. But that is something that we can take into cognizance. Tamani, could you maybe sum up what you've heard and get this document approved, please?
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to honorable members for the constructive comments. We have noted them. So what we are going to do now is to amend the recommendations in line with what the members have raised. The one that I would like perhaps just to talk to briefly is the one on the universal eradication of bucket toilets. Realistically speaking, at the moment, that is will be more like a far-fetched type of recommendation, because we know they do not have the money to do that. And at best, I would advise that we hold them accountable for the 12 months to eradicate the ones that are known at the moment, which I have got the budget, the Free State and the Northern Cape. Then in tandem to that, then we add a recommendation which talks to perhaps a census or reconnaissance survey of the existing bucket toilets in both formal and informal settlements. So some sort of statistics that they should provide. Once we have that in place, then we can also now try to identify stakeholders or stakeholders that should be responsible for eradicating those bucket toilets. Because if now we just give that, we know for sure it's not going to happen. And obviously, even from our side, it will be something that is not well thought out through, because we need to make recommendations that are smart, that are within reasonableness as well as time frame, time bound, and we need something that we have got the resources to do it. So in this case, there are no resources to do completely eradicate the bucket. But so my proposal is that we will do the 12 months eradication of the existing ones that we have on record, and then they should provide statistics perhaps before the end of the term, and then we can decide on the way forward. And insofar as the others,
Tamani, my apology. Tamani, my apology. You said at the end of the term, isn't no end of the financial year?
Yeah, end of the financial year. No,
because the end of the term, it's too long. The end of the financial year.
Yeah, it's end of the financial year. So that is the amendment that I'm going to make to the bucket eradication. So for the rest, they are clear, they are straightforward. So we will make those. And insofar as the budget, I think what Honorable Moore indicated around the issue of making sure that there are no reductions insofar as budget of the water and sanitation is concerned, it's a recommendation that the committee is well within its right to make to Minister of Finance. So we will draft that into the recommendations. So the rest are straightforward. We are going to indicate those. So I think the rest, they are self-explanatory around the AMD as well. So those are clear recommendations. And thank you very much, honorable members, for that.
Honorable Detebe?
Chairperson, just for clarity, I take it that when you refer to the end of the financial year, which I agree with, we are referring to the 2024 is it no, not this the financial year end. That is that one that ends in April next year, the one thereafter.
Yeah, so the suggestion is that before the end of the financial year, they must come up with a recommendation, with a plan after consultation with COCTA and Human Settlement on how they're going to run in the new financial year the bucket eradication. But yes, the one ends in April next year. They must come up with a plan after consultation with COCTA and Human Settlement. Are you happy?
Chairperson. No, Chairperson, I think that now you're clarifying it, because when you say that, it means with the presentation of the plan, the financial year that ensues thereafter is the one in which then they have to do everything within that 12-month period, whatever it is that's outstanding. So I think you've clarified it. I agree with you on that, Chairperson. But yes, to also agree with Tumani that that's how we must do it. That's how I've understood it. But I think, Chairperson, also with regards to what Honorable Mohlala, speaking broadly, said about human settlements and yourself referring to COCTA. Earlier on, I referred to one plans of the district development model. And I think Honorable Kobe also referred to the Department of Public Works, the special purpose vehicle under ISA, the infrastructure fund, etc. Of course, it's a multi-layered approach, which makes them successful and so forth, involving DBSA, etc. So in some instances, I would imagine even Housing Development Agency and others. So let's all the time, because it's purely for technical purposes that human settlements on the one hand is a portfolio committee, and water and sanitation on the other is a portfolio committee or a portfolio. But in our operationalization, in our application of what we do, let's look at this as part and parcel of, as one thing. If you go to the World Urban Forum, you're not going to look only at human settlements, but you're going to look at water and sanitation and the whole gamut of SDG goals, but with specific focus on human settlements and water and sanitation. So agreed, Chairperson, and thank you very much for the clarity you've provided and leadership on that.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mohlala.
Yes, Chair. No, I was just saying, Honorable Jitebe is complicating this thing now, because what Tomani said, there are bucket toilets that have been budgeted for. I think it's 1,000 plus. So those ones, they must be eradicated in 12 months. Yeah. And then there's a plan.
Honorable Member, my apology. You're 100% correct. We didn't refer to that. He was.
No, allow me to speak and then you come back.
Member, can I just clarify you quickly? He didn't mean that. He said that the 12 months, what is on the budget must be done. It's just before the financial year that the additional must be communicated. I just want to clarify that before you go on. He didn't mean that should not be completed. It will stay in the program that 12,000 has been budgeted for. They must deal with those in this financial year. My apology. No. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, but I understand exactly what you are saying, and is exactly what I'm saying. There's 1,000 something bucket toilets that have been budgeted for. The one that we've been going back and forth with them, not finishing them from the previous financial year, from the previous term. Those ones, they must go. And yes. Then there are these ones that we don't know where they are, informal settlements. But those ones, the department, together with COCTA and Human Settlement, if possible, they must go and draw a plan and come out with ideas. When are we starting, and with a plan actually? When are we starting? Where are we going to get money? How much is the budget and everything? But these ones that have been budgeted for, they must go. The 1,000, it's been decades. I'm not talking about something. I think they started in 2011 or 2006, if I'm not mistaken. So let's make sure that we pressurize the department to move with these things without any hesitation. These ones, they must go. The 1,000 something that is always, we are always hearing of when we open the TVs, when we are here in the portfolio committee, the report is that this is still a problem. It's a backlog. Let's eradicate, let's deal with those ones. And then we focus on the new ones that we still have to go and check where they are. Thank you.
I think we are all on the same page. Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Member, with the amendments, the recommendations made by the members, we can take up all these recommendations in this report. Can we then approve this report with the adjustments made and additional recommendations? Can we approve this report? And then we would ask Tumani that if the recommendation have been done, that they just resend that document for us, and that after our meeting tonight, we can then finally just approve it, don't have a debate on it, go through that document with the adjustments made, and then tonight not clarified, we can quickly clarify, but we do this document with the a proposer for this. Honourable Moore?
I propose.
Can I get a seconder? Honourable Member, can you want to, Motsakatsi, do you want a second?
I second, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, thank you very much. We're quickly going to go to the next point. And can I ask that Nosipa just put on the program for the rest of this year on the screen. Thank you. Nosipa, would you like to go through this quickly?
Good day, Chairperson. Here is the program. Talente, can you move back to the 22 years?
Okay, so colleagues, we have a meeting tonight at, I see we've changed it to 18:30, which is fine because we've got Parliament sitting. So at 18:30 tonight, we will have the presentation of only Rand Water on the water issue in Gauteng. And then for next week on the 29th, Nosipa, you can go ahead.
On the 29th, Chairperson, we are having water boards. Remember, we're supposed to have the presentation on the integrated solution by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Department of COGTA, National Treasury, and SALGA. But unfortunately, the 29th is a day before the tabling of the MTBPS, so National Treasury is not available on the 29th. Hence, we moved that agenda item to the 12th of November. So on the 29th and 05 November, we'll have business or corporate plans of the water boards. So on the 29th, we have Val, Overbeck, Machalis water boards. And then on 5 November, we have Rand Water, Amatola, and Umgeni Utukela.
Right, and then we go to the 12th.
Yes, we have that presentation on the integrated response solution on the municipal debt to water boards.
And then there we will also have all the role players.
Yes, and the meeting will be physical in Parliament at Good Hope Chamber.
And then the association for the water boards, you will also invite them.
Yes, I will invite them. I just spoke to them now, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you.
And then on the 19th, we have this overdue petition from The residents of Germiston submitted to Parliament by Honorable Clark. Then Rand Water and Department of Sanitation will be also attending the meeting to respond to this petition. And then on the 26th is the second quarter briefing by the Department of Water and Sanitation. And the last agenda item is the approval from the members of this oversight visit to Lesotho Highlands Water Project.
Honourable Member, on the 19th of November, shouldn't we also include the municipality?
City of Johannesburg.
They should, if Germiston's get water from them, then they must be included.
All right,
They must be invited.
Noted.
Because Rand Water don't supply, you know, the municipality must also represent their own case. So I would suggest we only invite them as well.
Mr. Ditebe's hand is up. And Mr. Moss.
Honorable Ditebe.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I agree broadly with the outline of the program. While the dates 2nd to the 8th, or rather the 6th of December, may have been approved by the Honorable Frolick, I'm wondering whether we couldn't possibly change those dates, and I'll explain to you. You know, when we did oversight past 2 weeks or so, other members were overstretched. They had to choose other committees and so forth. It so happens that from the 1st to the 6th of December, I'll be doing in my other committee on human settlements, and I always try to bring issues of water and sanitation, Chair. I can assure you, I bring them up in that committee and vice versa, particularly those of water and sanitation in the human settlements portfolio, so that there's synergy. So if the committee agrees, perhaps we can do that, you know, after the 6th, because then we're concluding our oversight in the Free State from the 1st to the 6th. So I wouldn't mind going directly into another oversight if the committee agrees. If not, I've already committed to this other one, the human settlements one, because again, we're going to be confronted with water and sanitation issues there. This one is the Lesotho Highlands one. I don't know if we can change the dates, Chair, but we will be done by the 6th. Thanks.
Honourable Member, no, we will not be able to change the dates. That is set aside for oversight. From the 7th, we will be in constituency period, and the Parliament is not allowed to have oversight in constituency period, and a week later, the Parliament on the 17th, members close for the holidays. So unfortunately, we will always sit with the situation that when human settlements got oversight, water and sanitation will air, or will also have, and unfortunately, the individual member must choose to which one they would go. I just would like, we can come back to the oversight if you allow me. I just want to finalize the 19th of November quickly. Honourable Moore, would you, I presume you want to speak on the Germiston issue?
Yes, thanks, Chair. Sorry, just a clarity. Thank you for mentioning Joburg Water or City of Johannesburg. If I've misheard, that's fine. But Germiston is in the city of Ekurhuleni, just for clarity's sake. Thank you.
Okay, so then Ekurhuleni must be invited to this meeting. Honourable Ramaila.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not suggesting to change anything. I was just thinking that with the water crisis in Johannesburg, aren't we necessarily supposed just to do oversight there, so to get a grasp of this thing, and so that we are also being seen as a portfolio committee, indeed prioritizing these Asian matters? I'm just throwing in a suggestion. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member, I was thinking of discussing it tonight with Rand Water and see whether we next week or the week after next week, we can go for 1 day oversight in Gauteng to Rand Water so that they can, day or two, we will have to get approval for that. But because it is a crisis, I agree with you 100% that we should do it not later within the next 7 to 14 days. But I'll have to discuss this with Nosipo and Tumani and then have a discussion with Chair of Chairs to see that we maybe can put in 1 day next week to make sure that we do oversight. But we can discuss that tonight with the CEO of Rand Water as well. It would be good for us after having their presentation this week to go out next week and go see for ourselves. So I think we will look at this. Then, honourable members, yes, who is it?
I'm not going to. Yeah, I hear that you are talking about oversight to Johannesburg. So I don't know whether it's Johannesburg or Ekurhuleni, or you mean the whole of Gauteng, because I'll propose that we also go to Ekurhuleni.
Honourable Member, I think the suggestion from Honourable Ramahila was that the Water Board tonight makes a presentation to us, Rand Water, and we can take a decision after our tonight's meeting whether we want to go for 1 day oversight to Rand Water itself, to see for ourselves what Rand Water has presented to us, whether we'll find that on the ground, not to go to municipalities, but specifically go to Rand Water after their presentation tonight, if everybody is happy with that.
But I propose that we go to the people, chairperson, Rand Water present, and then after that do what?
Well, it is our role as a committee to do oversight. Tonight is oversight, but to see for ourselves, someone tells you that the plants are running, there's nothing wrong, it's maintained. I would like to see that for myself. We will go to the other areas, but for now, I think the problem lies with the water crisis in Gauteng. The municipalities are blaming Rand Water. Rand Water is blaming the municipalities. Let's just have this meeting tonight, and after the meeting, we can take a decision on the way forward on this. If you allow us to go that route, Honourable Matlala, if it means we've got to extend this to the municipalities, we can take that decision tonight and then see whether we get approval to go on a special oversight within a week, within the next week or two, because it is a crisis in that area. If you allow that, then we can have that discussion tonight after that meeting. Then, honourable members, I just would like to say that we're not sure whether our oversight to Lesotho will be approved. We'll know in the next week or two whether that is approved. But what I need to tell the honourable members is that you must apply for your official passport. You need to speak to your political party or your secretary to make the necessary arrangements for you so that you can apply. It doesn't take long. They make the appointment for you so that you get your official passport. It's a different passport than the normal passport. It's a passport that it's only for official use. When you're, as a member of parliament, go on oversight, use that passport, then you don't need visums and all that kind of stuff. So please make these arrangements. And if you don't have an official passport by when this is approved or when we are going, you will not be able to accompany us if you don't have your official passport. I think the date of the 2nd, I think they're still on the 2nd, there is still a sitting, but we will thrash that out. But can I then ask, I have approval, whether I can get approval for this program? Honorable Moore, before that, your hand was up.
Chair, I was going to talk on the Rand Water thing, but I support you on tonight. You know that I'm quite keen to go to the Rand Water facilities, the Zakerbosch treatment plant, and the Vlakfontein Reservoir, which I think actually has a major effect on Ekurhuleni for my fellow members thing. So I think let's discuss it tonight. It's not important to go into exactly what now. Thank you.
Honorable Ditebe.
Chairperson, I'm on the official passport. Other committees deal with this differently. For example, the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlements, the committee secretary, those that do not have, makes arrangements for those members, they may be 3, 4, whatever number, to then go to Home Affairs. Everything is dealt with logistically by the committee secretary, so that then we don't burden members who do not have official passports to make those arrangements themselves. So perhaps if we could go the same route, they went this morning, I know, to Home Affairs with the committee secretary having arranged with Home Affairs for them, for those members that do not possess those passports, to go and have those passports sorted at Home Affairs. Perhaps if we could go the same route. Chair, thank you.
Yeah, I think maybe you didn't understand me correctly. That is the way. Normally, you get a letter from Home Affairs in Parliament, and it has been arranged, so you go on a appointment there. But if you feel that our secretary needs to assist members, for those members, I can just ask Nosipho, would that be possible for you to make these arrangements, or the personnel talent or someone to get that necessary letters for the members?
Yes, Chairperson, I can assist the members with the official letter that they need to take to Home Affairs to apply for the passport. Members who do not have official passports can arrange or send the information to me.
Yeah. So nobody will have official passports, because the passports lapsed at the end of the last term. So it would be it's only valid for 5 years for the term of service. So it would be all members. Can I then ask that members that really need assistance with that, that they communicate directly with you, Nosipho, and then you may make that arrangements for the individuals?
Yes.
Can I then get a proposer to approve this program? Honorable Moore?
Chairperson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramaila's hand has been up for a long time.
I think it's an old hand. I think it was a legacy hand.
Sorry, historical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Legacy. Honorable Moore?
Thank you, Chair. I propose the program.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you very much. That has been second. Honorable members, I think that concludes our business for today. Not for today, but for now, and then we will meet a little bit later. 6:30 this evening to consider the report of Rand Water, and closing remarks I will stand over till tonight. We adjourn this meeting. It's the same link that you have received today for this meeting, that we will join 6:30 tonight, the Rand Water. See you all at Parliament a little bit later. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Chair.
Yahlupha wena ufuna nje ama-passport lana. Hayi,
Mopedi o babalela
Hayi,
ke ba
man.
behamba.